It is the Friday night. We're in the Red Line in association with Erdinger. It's not night, to be honest with you, it's lunchtime. One, because we want to get it out quick, but also two, because whatever happens tonight, every bar in this town might be absolute bedlam. So we decided that we'd err on the side of caution. It'll be bedlam tomorrow as well. The city will be absolutely heaving tomorrow. We will get to tomorrow, but I'll start off with you, Stu, with... It felt to me like Wednesday night was a hell of a tonic for the troops. A lot of good performances. Your only mild regret might be that Nunez doesn't get a goal, which I think his performance warrants across the board. But it looked like this is the way Liverpool play. This is the way Liverpool want to play. It made a ton of sense.
It did make a lot more sense, and I don't think there's a huge coincidence in that in terms of Curtis Jones playing in midfield. I've heard a lot of people talk about how he makes everything make sense in midfield, and it's absolutely right, but I think there's quite an obvious reason why. He's probably the one lad in the midfield, more than any of them, who knows what he's doing. Because he's been there a long time, he knows exactly what the manager wants, and more importantly, he can deliver it. You know, he's athletic, he's tall, he's unbelievable technically. I noticed no one seems to have commented on one of his goals the other night, the one where he makes the keeper.
Yeah.
When he receives the ball on the halfway line, he's controlling it on his right, he turns on his right, he plays the ball into Nunez on his right, then makes the run. Gets the ball back, lovely ball from Nunez, enters the penalty area, looks up and then slots it with his left. And I just thought, you know, a lot of players are two-footed and all that, but he had to thread the eye of a literal needle there to make the keeper from that angle. He knew exactly what he was doing, and the confidence to do that on his left foot, having had all the build-up play on his right foot, I think it was just epitomised what a wonderful technical player he is. And you align all of that with a lad who's confident, who's now worked his way back from injury at I think he's had just about the right amount of games, because he always takes a few games, he's a bit ring rusty, and he's now just stepping into form, and as I say, he knows exactly what the manager wants, and most importantly, he can deliver that. I mean, if his name is not on the team sheet for tomorrow right now, then I don't know what more he has to do.
There is something with him and a couple of the others, Ian. I think that Gakpo, it's a really neat reminder of what he can offer in a number of different ways. I think part of why the West Ham midfielders don't know quite where to put themselves or what they're doing, or why they end up being a bit outgunned in there, is because Gakpo comes in at the right time, then goes separate at the right time. I thought he dovetailed with Nunez really, really nicely as well. It felt like a nice reminder of Gakpo's gifts, and obviously he crowns it with a goal too.
Yeah, suddenly we're playing with a false nine again. Suddenly a lad who understands when to drop into midfield and basically be part of whatever the shape was. There wasn't actually a diamond or a triangle, but when he's dropping in, he's got the two lads in front of him, and you can see suddenly there's space for Darwin to play better coming in off the left than there is if he's down the middle just acting as an orthodox nine. I think Gakpo's other great gift is he will score the goals that Darwin doesn't. He'll score simple goals, he'll score easy goals, but he'll also score from distance as well. He'll take the shot. So at the moment, I think he's the person who should be starting against Arsenal, because I think he'll cause them more problems than Diaz and Nunez will. I thought it was really noticeable when Diaz came on Wednesday night. He played central, and we kept Nunez out on the left. So I thought that entire arrangement up top, I thought they were absolutely excellent.
They find themselves, I think, John. We've been waiting for everyone to do the statement performance thing, and I listen. I think that come the end of a campaign, you can have a 5-0 home win against West Ham to feel like a turning point. I still don't think it's a statement performance, because we know that has to come in the Premier League. We know that that's where that is. That's the moment when you've got to grab one and go from there. But what I think it does do is it was just a good reminder to everyone as to why you can be confident in this team, because they cut a swathe against Fulham, but without playing brilliantly. They score 4 goals, but they're all from distance. They do the decent thing against Sheffield United and make it a non-event in the way that we would normally praise. We'd say that's a deeply professional performance, but because of the context where it sits with the other ones, I think it's one that reminds us all, these lads are just really capable of playing really good football for an extended period. Not for 5 minutes, not for 10 minutes, but they can play 2 pretty good 45s.
Yeah, you want everyone going into a top-of-the-table clash, which is what this is, feeling confident, don't you? And that's the players and that's the supporters, and confidence in each other, and for the players, confidence in themselves, and that's what the midweek game does. Like you say, Neil, you know, you're not getting massive headlines, you know, around the world for winning a Carabao Cup game, but what you can do is just change the mood a little bit internally. And listen, I don't think, if they were 2 down after the United game, they shouldn't have been necessarily, because it still remains, the only punch that they've dropped at home, or the only time they've not won a home game in any competition this season. So, they shouldn't have been 2 down. But if they sort of were, if they were starting to maybe get a little bit worried, some of the forwards were getting a bit worried about, drying up, some of the midfielders maybe getting a bit worried about the forwards. Wednesday's just a lovely palate cleanser, isn't it? It's a lovely one to go, let's bounce into this game, because they're a good team. Arsenal, they're a really good side. We're going to need everything that we've got, to beat them, and that includes, confidence, and includes going in there, includes a bit of a swagger, and includes, everything that a 5-1 can bring you.
Swagger, for 60 minutes, it's another masterclass from the captain against West Ham. I couldn't get over it against Stu. It will be easy for him to phone one in. He's not phoning a thing in at the minute. Doesn't phone a single challenge in. Everything's full-blooded at the minute. I saw a stat thing this week that any way you want to rate a central defender at the minute, he's ranked number 1. You name the metric, he is top of it. And yet again, it's an odd thing to say in a 5-0. I'm just in the ground staring at a magnificent performance. He appears to currently only deal in magnificent performances, the captain.
Yeah, he's imperious at the moment, isn't he? And he has been all season. I think some players, when they're given the armband, it can weigh a little bit too heavy for them, and it can bring them down. And then there's other players who, it makes them step up their game, go to another level. And if anything, he looks about another 2 foot taller, which would be a frightening prospect, because he's already an absolute colossus. But it seems to have raised his game and his sense of responsibility to new levels even. I think it would be tough to say his performance level is any better than what it was at its peak for Liverpool. But perhaps his sense of responsibility for those around him, maybe that now has come with a greater level of maturity as well. And as I say, the armband. I think if you're a centre forward right now, coming up against him, I think you'd be up nights. I think you'd be worried about how it is you're going to get past him, regardless who's playing alongside him. And I think that's the thing with Liverpool, by the way. If you look at the centre halves that Virgil van Dijk has had over the years as his partners, whenever he's not played, those centre halves have looked a shadow of the centre half that they are when they're with him. A shadow. And that was my frustration last year, because last year you had this feeling that are we coming to almost the end of age, or are we on the decline? And in my head I was like, we need to have centre halves there who can play when he doesn't, who can play and lead and dominate that defence when he doesn't. Fortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case anyway. But you look at the way Quansah's come through. I mean, he looks some talent. He looks an incredible player, but I don't think it's a coincidence that he's got Virgil van Dijk alongside him, making him look that good, giving him all the right advice.
Just training with him,
raising his level. I think that's huge for Quansah. I think that'll probably have a huge impact on the rest of his career. But yeah, the captain looks impeccable right now.
Yeah, and he'll probably have some defending to do at the weekend, won't he, as well? So he's going into it in great form. Like you say, Neil, every metric you can judge a defender on, he's flying at the moment, but he's just doing it all, still like he does, like just looking sort of 80%, nearly 85, and that's not to say that, he's holding anything back necessarily. But I think he probably is, because I think, Virgil, there's so many of them who understand how long a season can be if it's going well, do you know what I mean? And I think this was...
The games only get bigger as it wears on as well.
Yeah, exactly. And so, if he is only playing at 80-85%, I mean, first of all, that's frightening for the rest of the league. But secondly, you sort of understand that, really. The likes of him, the likes of Mo, Trent, they've won everything there is to win at Liverpool Football Club. And so they're able to, demonstrate and sort of explain to the others, listen, let's not get all giddy, Spurs just went mad, didn't they? And then they got about 7 lads sent off because they were just so much sort of energy for sort of this new thing, and that's an extreme example. Liverpool aren't going to do that this season. I'm confident that whatever happens on Sunday, and listen, I think and hope we'll win, but whatever happens, I think we are in it for the long haul, and part of that is because people like the captain, because if they've done it, they're going to keep everyone calm. If we win the game at the weekend, if we don't win it, then it'll be the same. There's a long way to go, twists and turns in this. They're sort of top at the moment. Let's see where we are in March, as Bandy said to us the other night. And so I feel like people like Virgil on and off the ball on and off the pitch are just vital for us at the moment.
Go on.
Sorry, it's not just the winning the games either. There are only a handful of players who know what it's like to play every single game in a season that you can possibly play. And what broke us last season was doing it the season before. But the lads who are still here from the season before know how to get through that now, because very few people have
this
done
is
it.
easy.
They've done it. They understand the rhythm now.
They do understand the rhythm. It is excellent. We are in the Red Line. We are with Erdinger. We are in Liverpool City Centre. It is the Anfield Wrap. It is the week before Christmas. It's a pleasure whenever you take the time to listen to or watch anything we do. Thank you for doing that. We're going to talk about Arsenal in a minute. It's only the biggest day of all of our lives.
And Erdinger, please.
Stop! Don't forget the best bit.
Welcome back, a pleasure as ever. Excellent to be here. Ian, this game against Arsenal, it is absolutely massive. Let's be clear, you know, nothing is finished if it doesn't go Liverpool's way. But if it does go Liverpool's way, then it creates such a platform for the rest of the campaign. For me, that's what's on offer here. I think there was an opportunity against Manchester United that would have doubled the opportunity against Arsenal that was missed. That said, there is still a massive opportunity here.
It's huge. It's probably the biggest game we've had against Arsenal in 23 years, because there was a cup final at that point. Possibly the biggest game we've had against Arsenal since 1989. And I still think we owe them for 1989, because I was on the Kop that night and it wasn't an enjoyable experience. I want to see them. I want us to actually put them in their place on Saturday. I want us to make this needs to be our statement. I think we should have done it.
Well, you not just take any 3 points in, because I'll be honest with you, mate. I'll take any 3 points.
I will take anything. I will take.
Imagine trying to explain to Virgil about 1989 and when listening, and Salmon's got, he was there.
And he needs. No. He doesn't just need a quiet 1-0, Virg. What he needs.
I need resolution. I need my dramatic arc completed here. I'll take any 3 points. I'll take it going in off Darwin's arse quite happily.
There we go. That's the
88th minute.
As well.
I think Darwin would take that. Any win is great, but I do want a statement of we'll control the game. We'll control you at the front. We'll take our advantages at the back. Arsenal are going to come and play football. I imagine Arsenal are going to come and play football.
I just also disagree with this.
Do you think he'll try the pep?
I think he'll try to do loads behind the ball all the way through. But first and foremost, what Arsenal have built this on this year is they've got a really good defensive structure. So they've got the three lads who are conventional defenders. Then they've got Zinchenko. Then they've got Rice. At times they put another holder in and also play Rice. So that gives you 6 players who can be quite defensively minded. They're not pure defenders. Well. Yeah, they can do little bits and pieces there. So I think they may well have the attitude of Anfield will be the way it is, but we can quiet it if we get to 20 and it's still 0-0. So when I say I don't think they'll do what United did, that's not what I'm saying, but I don't think they'll necessarily take any risks first 20 minutes. I think they'll keep men back. They'll have the idea that we can't lose it in transition. I think they'll time waste like fucking nothing on earth. It's the big thing everyone's got to be prepared for, because they did it last year when they were well better than us from minute 1, and even when they were 2-0 up, they were still time wasting, which in the end was a mistake. But I think they will defend a bit, Ian. They will be defensively solid.
I'd like them to.
You'd like them not to be,
I want them to not be defensively solid. I don't want another Man United game, obviously. Man United was like playing Burnley when they were at their very, very Burnleyest. And we should have taken them. We had enough to do it, and we should have done. But and 34 shots, something should go in at some point. If we just apply ourselves like we applied ourselves on Wednesday night, because don't underestimate West Ham. I was nervous going into the West Ham game.
Yeah. So was John. John thought we were getting beat.
I thought they could do it. Because Jeanette had asked me that morning, do you think you'll win? I'm like, I don't know. I hope we will, obviously, but I really don't know on this one. Because I thought it could be the one that we drop. That I feel better about Arsenal tomorrow after having Wednesday than I did last Sunday. If last Sunday was the only thing I had, I'd be terrified for tomorrow. Now I feel good.
I like them. I think they're a good side. I think they're really well set up. I think what they do, the right back's clever. I think he's very smart at making it a 3, but he's also very smart at helping Saka and joining him. Rice is obviously terrific in there as well. I like the centre halves. You can sort of go on here. I think there's a weakness with Zinchenko, but then people say there's a weakness with Trent Alexander-Arnold, so I'm conscious of that one. I still don't feel as though there's necessarily the goals, Stu, in a raw sense with them that you'd expect from title winners, but simultaneously other sides of, you know, quite recently, a couple of years back, City winning, and I think Gundogan was top league scorer for them, so there's ways around this. I like them, it's worth saying, they're a really good team.
I like them, but there's inconsistencies and some flaws there. I think the balance in midfield isn't quite right yet. But I think, you know, adding Rice into the mix there has been, you know, a masterstroke. I mean, if you can call it a masterstroke, it was a fairly obvious one to do. But I like obvious transfers.
Exactly. I like obvious transfers.
It's the ones that makes absolute sense.
From minute one.
Absolutely, and he could have got into the, you know, there's an argument to say Liverpool should have gone for him, but I think Arsenal was so far down the line.
Yeah.
But you know, Man United, Manchester City, Liverpool, they could all do. The only argument you'd have at Manchester City is they've got another one in terms of Rodri. But I think there's a question mark over that midfield. I think, you know, if they come with Rice, Odegaard and Havertz midfield, I think there's a lot of pressure on Rice there to hold that together. He's capable of it. I've seen him run the show at Anfield for West Ham before, you know, which is no small thing to do. I think up front, I think they've got a more consistent front three than us that tend to know what they're about a bit more, and this is, you know, when they can get Jesus on the pitch, but they tend to know what they're about a bit more. But the thing is, with our front three, even though it's very much still in its genesis stage, I think at our front three are their explosive best, and their front three at their explosive best. I think ours blows them out the water. Yeah. I think ours has more potential, but it's lighting that fire enough with that, really. I think defensively they're solid, but at the same time they haven't got Virgil van Dijk.
And they've got Alisson Becker.
And well, this is where I was going next. There's a big question mark over the goalkeeper situation, and we've got the best goalie in the world. And in my eyes, you know, up there with one of the best there's ever been. So I'm also with you though in terms of how this game's going to go. Because I think both teams, both managers, both sets of players know that at any given moment, this game is going to absolutely explode. And I think because of that, there'll almost be a sense of fear of being the ones.
I think it's going to be a long. You're going to light a long fuse.
Literally, you've taken the words out of my mouth.
Sorry, Stu.
No worries. But I'm on the same wavelength as you, because I think both are going to be quite scared of lighting that fuse. And yeah, I've got that almost like that cartoon image of the long fuse. It runs all over the place, and there's time for the mouse to escape. So I think there might be in the early stages some tentative jabs by both teams. And then how long that plays out depends on how long it is before there's a mistake or a moment of brilliance. And then it's, you know, it's just game on. But I also think that there could be lulls in the game where it explodes into life. Both teams then panic after a bit and go, yeah, let's just calm this down for a bit and take 10 minutes. And so I think it could come in waves, but I think it's going to be some game to watch.
I'm expected to be compelling. I'm expected to be a combination of games against City, games against Brighton. We've got to keep our nerve for all I understand the manager and all the atmosphere. I don't understand all the atmosphere nonsense, but I understand the manager. Every football manager forever, John, has wanted their home ground to be louder. There is a bit of a counterproductive thing here where this season, quite literally, our goalkeeper's turned around to his own end and says, will you shut up, please, because we're trying to do something here. And my sort of semi-worry off Stu's point is, if it is a bit of a weird Brighton one, the last thing you want is 50,000 maniacs all panicking at once because they're emotionally bought into such an extent. And I think we're going to get a bit of that. I think we're going to have to pick our moments a little bit genuinely, and people don't like that. I think we're going to have to keep it cool in a way.
Yeah, there is a fine line, and you know, I remember, you know, you talk about Alisson this season, but I remember is it 1920 at times where, you know, Milner's just telling the crowd, just calm down a bit, do you know what I mean? Because it matters so much to people. You know, that it can boil over, and you can't always control your emotions. And when someone misplaces a pass or whatever, and you go, do you know what I mean? You're not thinking, oh, if 50,000 people do that, it's fucking loud. Because you just do it automatically, and you're not thinking about anyone else, but it sort of is really. And so you have got to be a little bit careful, and the manager does have to be a little bit careful about, you know, you can wind everyone up if you want, and you can get everyone fucking on pins if you want, but that won't always look like exactly what you want it to, you know, at every point. And listen, if we score first, then, you know, we'll score early, then maybe sort of it does really, but if it doesn't sort of go on like that, do you know what I mean? Like, you want a supportive crowd, you want a crowd that believes in the team, you want a crowd that gets behind them. Yeah, I understand if there's some dickhead behind them moaning all the time and calling everyone shit, and we keep scoring goals like we did on Wednesday night, then
see why it drives him mad, because also he loves football and he thinks we're playing great here.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with these 5 or 6 fellas? Because I've been in the ground when I've had 5 or 6 fellas when we've been playing great, who act like everyone's crap. It drives me mad. It must drive him mad. But yeah, simultaneously, when the crowd's been like that, there's also been 40,000 other people who are really supportive. We've all been, I feel like saying to Jürgen at times, we've all been sat next to a bell engine, Jürgen. We've all been...
It's your turn.
Yeah. You know, so...
We just don't get to talk about him on telly.
Yeah, but there is...
Mine's just sure we need to transfer your ticket.
Marvellous. No, there is... I think...
He's sat by Andy.
I can't believe he eked that out for 2.
I'm a greedy man.
There is... No, I think... Listen, I expect the atmosphere. If anything, my worry for the atmosphere was it was going to be too much, genuinely. And I'm now even more worried about that. It will be absolutely on top.
People screaming, just don't fucking panic!
Yeah. Well, the classic Portsmouth at home of 2008, aka the worst day ever at Anfield, for a game we won that I can ever remember. That's I think we've just got to come with them the whole way, and also remember the brilliant footballers, because I think that's the key thing, and that's what the manager actually wants. He wants you to remember the brilliant.
And they are, and listen, we can all get on board with that. And listen, it's straight after the game as well as comments and stuff like that, isn't it? When everything's sort of a little bit raw. We've done this before, the press conference. I'm sure he'll choose his words brilliantly and get everyone going and make us all feel.
I think he'll do the fucking opposite, because that's what he's like. But go
on
anyway.
I was being positive. We'll see. The viewers know what he's done. Maybe he's buried all of them and singled out me. In which case, sort of fair play.
There was a fella at the top of the Anfield Road the other night.
Went for a pint on 41. I was guilty. But listen, we know what to do, and this is what I sort of end up getting to as well. Is like, listen, we know what to do, we know what to create. I think Arsenal being so good off the ball, I think will surprise a few people
They will be so good off the ball,
and I think because people you just think of Arsenal and they're really good attacking team. You look at the
massive as well,
but the joint lowest on goals conceded, and that's because of how well they defend as a team, and they've got really good centre halves. So I think they're going to make it much harder for us to play our stuff than I think some of our fans realise, and that's where we need to keep our cool, I think, and that's where we need to go. There's not like fucking hell, why aren't we passing it better? There might be an element of that, I don't know, I'm not seeing the game yet, but I would imagine it'll be more an element of what they're trying to do.
Just on that as well, I think it's hard sometimes for the crowd, and again, not everyone watches the game the same way. We actually talked to Barnes this week, and he talked about how he watches the game. And also, it does, because I think there's a thing, I thought what United did really well, which wasn't being appreciated, was they blocked off passing lanes. They made passing lanes so risky that you don't want to take the chance because you don't want to lose it cheap. And we do passing lanes and all of our go, shape's great. The opposition do passing lanes, everyone goes, why aren't you passing it better? Or why aren't you passing it forward more? And I think Arsenal this year, what I think they've been exceptional at whenever I've caught them, John, is just closing down little channels, posing you the question, which is, if you want to try and play it there, but it's going to have to be inch perfect. And by the way, you'll make it, this decision's taking longer than me talking about this is taking, if you see what I mean. You're either doing it or you're not. And I think that's what they've been ever so good at. That's what Rice is great at, I think. I'll let you think you can pass it there, but if it's not absolutely inch perfect, I'll nick it. And then we're on the move. And by the way, I can sprint. I'm quick and I've got a stride on me.
And it is how you watch it, like you say. Like if we win the ball on Saturday, which we will at times, our press have been much better, which is another Curtis Jones thing. I saw a stat that he's won the ball the most in the final third in the whole of Europe. Before, so that's good.
It is good. So I like that.
So he's
long may that continue.
Yeah, so he's sort of helping with that. But when we win the ball back, it's like, oh, Liverpool are great at pressing. Do you know what I mean? But you've never given the ball away and got to tell you what, their press is good, though, innit? Like you just don't sort of think like that, really. And so and it's probably not going to happen on Saturday to any of us, but. I don't know, just have 5 pints and get fucking stuff.
Well, do you know what? On the 5 pints, and get absolutely steaming before you go in thing. I think we're in danger a little bit of overthinking, overanalyzing the crowd before going in, and worrying about it too much. The manager's called it on, and I think I understand the fear of the emotional roller coaster and that, but I think Liverpool should ride that wave. I think these teams are so finely matched. It's so close between them. Arsenal can't get away from the fact, though, that we've got the trump card, Anfield. And I've seen teams, I've been in grounds where, Dortmund game, for example, where there was moaning and fear and panic all over the show in that game, particularly in the first half.
When they battered us.
Yeah, but absolutely. But you know what? That swirls that swirls, that emotion swirls. And I want
you hang in,
absolutely.
then you believe.
Because if you're moaning that much, if you're screaming at them when they're doing something wrong, my God, you're going to be doing it when they're doing something right, because you believe, you're on board. Every time you then see them do something right, after they've done your head in for doing something wrong, you get behind them even more, and all of a sudden it becomes a swirling storm that Arsenal cannot cope with, and that's what I want Saturday.
So
I think Liverpool should lean into that. Cop for the moaning, lean into it, embrace it, play for it.
I like them, but they go 1-0 down at Villa. Now listen, they're the better side, but it stays 1-0 because Villa defend for their lives, Ian. They get caught up in a mad emotional maelstrom at St James's Park that they can't cope with. They go 2-0 down at Chelsea. They do get it back to 2-2 because they keep the nerve, but the point is they go 2-0 down under the poorer side for an hour. Again, in the context of this, I think they're a really good team who are going to finish top 3 at the least. I think it might be top 2. Yeah. But simultaneously, they're a work in progress, we're a work in progress, and as Stu says, we're the ones who are at home.
Well, if you want mad emotional maelstrom, you won't have been inside my head for the last 5 minutes of conversation just listening to that, because I was dead hopeful coming out Wednesday night. This side of the table has made me arse go now, basically, because you're talking...
Stu's got your back.
Stu's got me back. Stu's got me back massively. I'm so glad I'm sat next to Stu, because I feel great about absolutely everything in the world now.
But do you know what though, isn't it boss to be nervous? That's what I think. Nerves are a privilege.
And I feel alive.
Because... like last year we were like going into league games going,
nothing matters anymore.
Do you know what I mean? The reason we're nervous is because A, we give a shit, and B, because
something's at stake.
Because something's at stake, and it's great. So bring on the nerves.
And the great thing is, I think after Wednesday we've got more options than we thought we had. We've got less players at the moment, but the options we've got with those players, the change in shape and what Szoboszlai could do with not having Trent immediately behind him, give us a glimpse back to what he was at the beginning of the season. We've got options that we can change our tactics around within the game. You know, playing Trent's the perfect number 6, an orthodox 6. Obviously, when we were very dominant, made sense, but the shape of the team suddenly started to move around a little bit from what we've seen in the last 3-4 weeks. So I feel we're the better team. So we're both in transition. We're in transition from the transition we were in last week when we were already in transition. So I don't know what we transitioned through at the moment.
Too much transition in football these days.
We're going somewhere. I think we're the better team, and we have got the home advantage. I think that's massive.
You're going to have a good Saturday?
I'm going to have a great Saturday.
You're going to have a good Saturday?
I'm going to have a great Saturday.
It's Christmas?
Yeah, I'm worried I've started too early. And not literally now, just generally. I've had a big December already, but I've got one more in me at least.
The massive Saturdays, it's great to be part of the whole thing. As was said earlier on by John, there was a point during the COVID season where A, we couldn't go to football, and B, the football was dreadful, and C, Liverpool were playing for nothing. There was a point last season where you thought, oh my God, was Geraldson's stad right in 1982? Was the party indeed over? The party is not over, the party is ongoing, the party is Saturday. Sam Walkerdine's filmed this, he said this morning, isn't it great that it's first versus second? It's Arsenal and it's Liverpool top of the tree. It is indeed great. It's great to be top of the tree. It's great to have the nerves, embrace the whole thing. You have a marvellous Saturday as well, because trust me, the City and Liverpool will.